Gentlemen, excellent to be back with you on MGTOW Money. Today's topic, how to make money off this guaranteed loser. Before we get to that, thanks to the supporters of this channel. Patreon supporter Eder, I hope I answered your question regarding buying a home potentially. And welcome Roger, the newest member of Patreon supporters on this channel. By the way, Roger, you are going to do awesome, my man, and you have got a great role model. Before I get into today's topic, I want to provide out a book recommendation. I highly recommend. You'll get the tie-in here in just a second. The Bed of Procrustes. See the video description today by Nassim Taleb. It's just a series of short little sayings, cliches, etc. These are fantastic. These will get your mind working. See the video description today for this outstanding book. And oh, by the way, the audio version is less than an hour and a half. All right, on to today's topic, how to make money off this guaranteed loser. Men, I've mentioned before in the past, the four most dangerous words in investing are, this time is different. However, like any cliche, like any little short saying, it doesn't necessarily apply 100% of the time. It's a rule of thumb. It generally applies. It might apply 80, 90% of the time, but there's always a fraction aside. The Swiss Banking Authority, the Swiss Monetary Authority, I'm sort of talking about the Swiss version of the Federal Reserve in the United States or the RBA in Australia, has been doing something over the past several years that is not like anything else we've seen before, where it is, quote, this is something that's different. Specifically, what they've been doing is they've cut their interest rates to negative interest rates. In other words, if you're a person in Switzerland, and I know this for a fact, I know a Swiss guy, if you have 100,000 Swiss francs, which is approximately 100,000 USD in the bank in one particular account, guess what? You're paying the bank to hold your money. So in other words, you literally are having to pay the bank just for the privilege of keeping your money there if you have 100,000 francs or more in a particular account. It's unbelievable. Furthermore, if you lend money to the Swiss government, and by the way, they're an absolutely, you'll get your money back if you lend the money to the Swiss government. If you lend them, for example, on a 10-year basis, guess what? You lend them $1,000, you will get back at the end of 10 years, $950. So in other words, again, you are paying the Swiss government for the privilege of holding your money. This has never happened before. This should not be happening today, men. Something is very, very wrong. However, to take this even a step further, where it gets even more strange, and many people are talking about this, is that this is not only happening in Switzerland, it's happening in, oh, that's right, Japan. It's happening throughout all the euro-denominated countries throughout Europe. And furthermore, we see this trend happening now, getting closer at least, going to Australia, where they've just cut interest rates down to 1%, and where there is a possibility where they might go to 0.5%, and you can see where this is going. Lastly, most importantly, in the United States, which represents about 25% of the entire world's economy, there is serious discussion that if the United States falls into a recession, what do they might have to do at the Federal Reserve? Go to negative interest rates. So again, why is this happening? What are the implications of this happening? What is the long-range effects of this happening? These are all debatable. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not going to play Nostradamus here and tell you. However, I am going to talk about some ways, my MGTOW brother, that you can make some money. And I've got 3 actionable ideas for you. 1, you could consider buying long-term U.S. Treasury bonds. These are very, very easy to buy. Anyone in the world can buy them. I emphasize, anyone in the world can buy U.S. Treasury bonds. These are just IOUs from the federal government. By the way, go back to some of my prior videos. I've done videos on bonds. I've done videos on interest rates. For example, you can buy an exchange-traded fund. Trades just like a stock. Trades every stock trading day. TLT is the symbol. Yeah, you can go to your Webull account, type in TLT, and you can see it right there, and you can buy it today or whenever you're listening to this when the market's open. Another idea, of course, that you could buy these directly from your broker. You could buy long-term U.S. Treasury bonds directly from your broker. And if you're a gambler, You heard me clearly. If you're a gambler and you're a speculator and you want to potentially make some serious money, however, there's going to be a lot of volatility here, you could buy a leveraged bond ETF. There are leveraged bond ETFs. So in other words, you put up $1 and basically they'll magnify it and it could be worth up to $3. So in other words, if it goes up 1%, you could actually end up making 3%. You can make potentially a lot of money. I'm not going to go into specifics on this. You do your research. There's one from a company called ProShares. For example, you might want to research. Another idea for those men who are looking for ultra safe, ultra simple, easy ideas, the things that, hey, I can feel really good. This is going to be okay. You might want to consider buying a multi-year, either fixed CD, certificate of deposit, time deposit, whatever term you want to use, like a 2-year time deposit, or you could also buy a fixed term bond fund. So for example, you could lock up your money, if you will, for a 2-year period with a bank or with a bond fund. Again, in other words, a fixed 2-year period that 24 months from now, you will get your money back, relatively guaranteed, plus you'll get some sort of percentage of interest. It'll probably be around 2.5% to 3% interest. So again, this is an ultra safe, ultra easy way. I know that many men are very risk averse. They don't want to lose anything. No problem. This is a way you can do so and at least make a little money on nominal terms. I'm not, of course, talking about inflation terms. All right, 3. The next idea is consider hard assets. I'm defining hard assets. And by the way, before I get into what hard assets are, I want to be clear that this is one of the more riskier ways of making money. I've talked about this in the past. Specifically, I'm talking about hard assets like gold, silver, and cryptocurrencies. One of the main arguments that people make against putting money into these, quote, hard assets is that they don't generate any interest. They don't generate any income. In other words, you just buy them and you hope to sell them to somebody else. In other words, it's sort of the, quote, greater fool theory. In other words, okay, I buy this for $1,000 with the hope that there's going to be a greater fool in the future that I could sell it to for $2,000. Remember, men, when you're buying hard assets, for every buyer, in other words, that might be you, you're buying something, guess what? There's somebody who's selling it to you. So you have an opinion that, hey, this thing's going to go up in value. That guy who's selling it to you, he's got the opposite opinion. He thinks that it's actually going to go down in value because he wouldn't be selling it to you otherwise. So just remember, for everything that you buy in terms of a hard asset, there's somebody on the other side who's selling it to you. By the way, quickly mentioning on hard assets, gold is up about 10% this year. And oh, that's right, cryptos, at least relative to Bitcoin, are up approximately 200% this year. All right, finishing here, men. I was recently reading about home loans, and coincidentally, we're talking about home loans. A guy was taking a home loan in Denmark. He got a negative interest rate from the bank. In other words, the bank is paying him. It's a very small amount, very small percentage. I think it's a 0.5% or something. However, he's being paid to take a mortgage from the bank. There is the possibility this might be coming into the future in the United States. If nothing else, you might also consider, last idea for you, bonus here right now, you might consider, I've mentioned this in the past, using 0% credit card loans. Again, go back and listen to some of the videos I've done on this. Men, you can make money from this worldwide trend. I don't think this is going to be stopping in the near future. Interest rates are going to continue to fall into at least the next few years. Start now. Start with a little bit, if nothing else. Learn the basics of what I'm talking about and build up your pile of FU money today. Gentlemen, as always, I hope you found this profitable. Hit the like button if you did. John Galt out.